So we are standing here on the top of the synchrotron storage ring of the diamond light source, the very instrument that produces synchrotron radiation, X-rays, that are used at the beamline surrounding the storage ring for all types of experiments. I'm the scientist responsible for beamline i12. Our typical users is the material science community, but we also have scientists from the field of paleontology, the medical researchers, and we do have chemical processing people. All those people are interested in our unique capability to produce 3D tomography. We use very hard X-rays which easily penetrate and which allows them to study their samples not only with very high contrast but also with very high time resolution. That means they can study samples that are being deformed or put under any kind of external process.
We're right at the end of a 4-day experiment where we've been looking at corrosion behaviour of stainless steel.
This week we were supporting Alison Davenport and her team from Birmingham, who came here to study corrosion as it happens.
We're looking at it from the perspective of long-term storage of intermediate level nuclear waste. We have these stainless steel containers which are placed in above ground stores, and they're going to be there perhaps for 100 or so years before they're finally put in a geological disposal facility placed underground. The kind of corrosion that we potentially get is called pitting corrosion, which is the formation of tiny micron scale holes in the metal surface. Now, very small pits aren't a problem. When people look at the stores at the moment, there is really very little sign of pitting. However, we want to have confidence of the mechanisms that might cause pits to grow bigger and make sure that they're not applicable in the current stores. Fluctuations in the humidity potentially could lead to pit growth, and that's what we want to study here. We have little stainless steel pins and we slip a plastic tube over the outside which contains something to maintain the humidity. We can measure these kinds of pits using lab-based tomography, but the pit's actually growing during the measurement, so we can't do these kinds of time-dependent experiments.
We just put our X-ray beam through. In order to obtain three-dimensional data, you need to rotate the sample. We spin the sample at a very high speed. Within a single round, we take up to 6,000 images.
We put a droplet of salty water on the tip of the piece of stainless steel in which pits can start growing. We can see how big the pit is, and then we can change the conditions and see if the pits restart or not. And this is something that we're not able to do by any other technique, because normally we have to kill any corrosion that's going on, just stop it. So we have no idea how the corrosion develops at different stages of the atmospheric exposure. So on diamond, we can make measurements that we can't really do in any other way.
After all the effort of performing tomography experiments using those X-rays, what we get is a series of three-dimensional images which depict the decay of the sample in time as it undergoes the corrosion process.
We like very much coming to Diamond to do these experiments because we have a huge amount of support from the beamline scientists, and all the time they're trying to find improvements so that we can make the measurements faster, we can look at the data quicker, and that's very important when you're doing these kinds of time-dependent experiments, because you really want to be able to look at a measurement before you make the next one so that you know that you're on the right track. I also like bringing my students here because they learn a huge amount just from the experience of being here and seeing how these kinds of measurements can be made.